And I feel like I like talking about that, and I like engaging that, and I feel like that's the aspect, probably. There's many aspects about it, but it connects to a historical way of working, and I think there's certain. I mean, it's limited, and I think people who use all the modern tools to make their paintings can do a beautiful work, as a, you know, I know a lot of my friends do. So I'm not trying to take anyone down, but I was particularly fascinated with the possibility of taking that as far as we can.
Well, may I just say is that I'm fascinated with realism today in two ways, or I should say, there's a downside. I find that the new shock is done by academic realism to find, I remember I went to school to a diploma exhibition in New York, and I saw a painting about 5, 6, 7 feet long of a giant penis with absolutely academically correct everything, you know, and I was very unhappy. No, I didn't. And so I see an area of the use of realism to create an abusive art, maybe the use for abuse. But on the other hand, I have been so happy with the quality we have now across America, thanks to so many ateliers, independent ateliers and schools, a burgeoning critical mass of realists who are very good. I'm thrilled with that, and they're no longer one-figure wonders. You know, they just paint one figure and that's it. Now they're doing multi-figure, and with multi-figure you can do narrative much more effective. And I think narrative work, I just love the work of Max Ginsberg. You know, he's absolutely fantastic. You know, multi-figure has something to say, and he says it. Yes, and you know, that kind of art. That's he's kind of the hero of so many people who are now coming on painting multi-figure work. It's harder. In Russia, you call it kartina. Kartina, yeah. That is big themed paintings that are somewhat ambitious. And I like to see this ambitiousness, and I like to see the contemporary scene painted. You know, I don't want Bouguereau's painted anymore. I want to see the new Bouguereau. You know, somebody.
Capability. You want to have the
but that capability, and but doing today.
James.
Well, I think, of course, first, a rediscovery of technique is very interesting. Whenever a rediscovery happens, I mean that deserves attention in itself. What I also was attracted to is the sense of community, which you don't really know until you're in this world. And we spend some time, and I spend a little time with Jacob. That's special. You know, that's a beautiful thing that he has in his schools. In addition, I think this movement has the potential, I think its reevaluation of the human form, to do something quite remarkable. Maybe a return to sensuality. It's also connected to, I think, maybe health and wellness and well-being. It's a very different aesthetic than the human form as it appeared in high modernism, which was often desiccated or dead. This is very different, and I'm not sure where that's going to lead, but that in itself is revolutionary, I think.
And I know you have something to say about this, Alexey.
I'll do it. Well, no, realism. Realism is fascinating. Whenever you look at just contemplating, and then just contemplating the world and the universe as it is, realism has over 35,000 year history. It was there. It was there as long as the human beings were. And in that way, it will be there always forever. Yet it went through its periods of ups and downs historically. And what's 100 years for history? 200, a couple of 100 years of history if you talk about 35,000 year span. Yet when you overimpose that on our limited time here, it actually means a lot. So what I see here, what I think kind of the most fascinating thing, what I see, first of all, I want to pick up something like Vern, you're absolutely right. I think an amazing thing is that we have a critical mass of extraordinary talent that is hitting their prime right now.
Yeah.
And I think this room and this place is complete testament to that. That is sensational. That is the fact, and the sense, and then another thing, the sense of community. The sense of community that developed of people who are doing in various ways. There is no one way. Realism is multiple roads. Realism is diverse. So, and so many people in their own ways setting, but essentially the same goal, guys who got it a similar extent. That's what defines movement. This is fascinating. But what, to me, one of the most fascinating aspects, historically, if you look at that, what happened, unlike in the recent, let's say, history meaning from Renaissance on, very recent, our new stage, which I completely believe we have a new stage, we have a new sensibilities in the realism, new imagery, new abilities, new way, what, for example, Jay, what you guys are doing, it's incredible the way the image becomes different. It's the realism that has different content, not on the subject, but also content, the way to deliver the subject. Everything, the subject and the delivery system and the themes. That's why I'm sorry to disappoint you, but it is contemporary art. But but the most fascinating thing to me in this, that it came, and in that way I'm deeply grateful to modernism. And in that sense, for me, being as personal as it is, they were destroying my academy. These people were coming and breaking down with the guns. And as a part of their lesson, they were crashing. In 1918, 1919, they were crashing cluster casts that czars paid for from life. I mean, it's one of the priceless casts. You know, and the ones that remained, it's because they were too kind of tired to crush them. Because the pile of the inner courtyard of the academy was so filled with that they couldn't, break it.
Alexey, I want to move on because I want to make sure we have time.
Oh yeah. I think with that. So the fascinating part of realism is that it came after complete devastation. When we rejected everything, after full rejection of it by modernism, we came now to it as a matter of choice and not as a matter of habit. Because look at this, there's so many young, purely artists, kids of our time made a conscious choice not to go the road of establishment, but because it's something so vitally and deeply important to them. Now that's fascinating. Our realism is a realism of choice, not a habit, and that's unique.
All right, yeah, the next two questions, yeah, thank you, Alexey. Maybe we can almost combine those. The first one is, what are the limitations to the currently ultimate power of a critic to ignore, and how do you see the future of art criticism? And the second question is, do you believe that institutions claiming to be representative of contemporary art process and art should be reflecting the existing aesthetic diversity on the ground?
I guess, not to be my own broken record, but I think I'm the one who holds the power to ignore in this case, and I'm not interested in the critics' power to ignore, and that's just always been, I feel like we all have that responsibility, and I certainly understand when there's, and I think Alexey's biography puts him in a unique position to really understand when you have state power arrayed against you, you can't ignore it anymore. But I feel like my growing up in a moment of cultural desolation for a person like me, I assumed that there was no engagement. I assumed that my only choice was to ignore that critical establishment. I knew that I wanted to do something that there was absolutely no. I grew up in New York in a world that really was a healthier version in some ways of the contemporary art world, 35 years ago, and there wasn't some sense that I was going to be able to do what I wanted by duking it out with them. So a lot of that has informed